In this video, I want to show you the immersive reader that is built into Schoology. And just a fun fact, if we do have any elementary or middle school folks watching these videos, this would be available also on the iPad. But we are pretty specifically looking in this workshop at high school students with their laptops. So anyway, within every page in Schoology and also in discussion boards, there is a built-in immersive reader. This feature rolled out. It's been a couple years now that this has been here, but most people have never clicked on it. I've gone into a lot of classrooms at the high school this year during Bison Blocks to show some accessibility tools to students. And it's amazing how few students have actually ever clicked on this immersive reader, and the ones who have did it on accident or just wondered what it was and exited right away. So let me show you what it does. So I'm in a page with a lot of information here, and I'm going to enter the immersive reader. And when I do that, you're going to notice all of the extra stuff went away. It does have a description of the image on the page. This is why that alt text for pictures is really important. So bison, bench, press. So if this were reading aloud to a person who needed a text read aloud, they would get that description, but they can't see the picture now. So I am focused just on the text on the screen. And there are a couple things that you can do now within the immersive reader. I'm going to drop my cursor here, just going to select the first word. And I have a few options. So I can go into my text preferences. I can make my text larger or smaller. So if you have a student with vision issues, they can make the text larger. You can increase or decrease the spacing. So if you notice on my screen now, everything is really tight together, a little more spread out. It helps to cut down on the amount of information on the page too, so students can focus in a little bit better. You have 3 font options. And then down here you have themes, and I like to put mine in dark mode. And I like to show students that because a lot of our students like to have it in dark mode. And typically Schoology is not going to be in dark mode. So they can do this and then it goes into dark mode. And let me hide this sharing because down here now there is a play button. So I have selected over. I'm going to hit play.
Over the course of 8 weeks, teams of 4 teachers.
And this is going to start reading aloud to my student. Right next to here, you have some voice settings, and you can also speed down and slow down and speed up the rate of speech. So I might take that up to 1.25 times, 1.5 times. I keep it at 1. You only have 2 choices, male or female. You can change this over to male, hit play.
Teachers/staff members will log intentional minutes of physical activity.
Okay, and you'll notice that it was reading along with this text and focusing in for my students. So you started with text preferences. Within text preferences, you can also look at grammar options. So our English teachers, maybe your students are struggling with verbs. If I turn this on and I make my verbs all this light blue, now my verbs can really pop out for my students. You can turn on nouns. I have my nouns purple. Maybe I want to make them green. So you can turn on these different parts of speech, and you can even show labels. So now above those, not only are they color coded, but they say a V for verb, an N for noun. And that is an option in your text preferences. And then you have reading preferences as well. You have line focus here, just like we saw in the immersive reader in Microsoft Edge. You have the line focus where you can have 1 line at a time. You can have 2 lines at a time. I don't know why it's not letting me change that. And up to 5 lines at a time. You can also have a picture dictionary that will have a picture of some words. It doesn't have pictures for every word. So physical doesn't have a picture for, intentional doesn't have a picture for, log, so the picture dictionary is not perfect. But what is also here that many teachers don't realize is if you have any English language learners, if you have an L in your class who is maybe in ELD 1 and they have just come here from a Spanish speaking country, or just a country where a different language is their native language and they are struggling with English, you can actually have this whole page translated for your students to a language that they maybe understand better. So I'm going to take this over to German and I'm going to have it translate the whole document, so the whole page. And you'll see now that this is in German and it will read aloud to me in German.
Übersicht über die Wellness-Herausforderung. Wildbison-Press-659 EDA 073C715 PNG über einen Zeitraum von.
So that is an image, and that is part of the image name. So those alt text on your images on the page might want to edit them because it just read all of those numbers, which for me was fun because German's just a world I still love to live in. And I'm going to undo that and change it back to English. And it was like instantaneous. And there are a lot of languages to choose from here. So if you have any students in your class and you are using Schoology for content in pages or in discussion boards, you can show them the Immersive Reader and let them translate your social studies content into a language that they understand. So they're getting your content without being bogged down in a language situation where they don't understand the English and they can still get your content in their own language. So that's pretty powerful. So that is the Immersive Reader here built into Schoology. And as soon as you hit this back arrow, it's going to take you back to your normal view. So this is, again, it's available if you have information in pages or if you have a discussion board. It is not in everything yet in Schoology, and the hope is that these accessibility tools will continue to grow and be available for you and for your students.